Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn and welcome to the channel. We have some more reaction content for you, and today we are checking out Dragon Ball The Breakers. Now, I don't know, like, this video is 11 minutes long. Holy shit. All right, anyway, I don't know anything about this beyond that it is an asymmetrical game. So like a 1v4 game. Think of games like Dead by Daylight. Think of games like Friday the 13th, Predator Hunting Ground, etc. Now, that said, we're working with a very well-known intellectual property here, right? Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, etc. And, you know, I don't think beyond a shadow of a doubt is this going to work anything along the lines like Dead by Daylight. Like, it is not, right? We're going to be playing, we're going to be trying to survive against Cell trying to blow up the planet or something, right? I don't know. We'll find out. But anyway, I don't believe that we're going to be trying to get away from Cell. I think we're going to be trying to figure out a way to, like, get around the map, find some power-ups, increase our ki, focus our chakra, and beat the shit out of him. Or something. I don't know. I'm trying to predict something that they're literally about to explain to me as soon as I click the fucking play button. But anyway, I'm gonna just shut up and I'm gonna let them tell us the story. So I thought this was a trailer. I mean, it says it's a fucking trailer. God damn. Hold on. Let me just see if real quick before we jump into a 12-minute systems overview. Is there just a cinematic trailer? Here's an announcement trailer. All right, let's start with this and then we can go over there. Let's watch something that's just like, yeah, and then we can actually go over here and see what the hell the game is about. So let's start here. So without further ado, Peggy 12. Let's begin. It just be powering up for 11 minutes. Just, all right, guys, you keep them busy. You just over in the corner. Like that, just for 12 minutes straight, and then you win. Also, to the people in my house, I am sorry. Anyway. Alright, so this is just the announcement trailer. Speaking of Cell. How many of the bad guys in Dragon Ball eat people? Like, Cell sucked people dry. And Majin Buu ate people, but who else? Raider. Are we not playing as like Goku? It's 7 survivors. And you're not playing as like Goku. You're playing as regular ass people. Oh my god. You see these people shit their pants in the corner? Oolong run! We're gonna be playing as people like Oolong and Bulma. So what's the end game? How dare you put Oolong with regulars? All right, Oolong needs to get out of there. We'll just throw Yamcha in there and call it a day, right? What's the goal? Break out from chaos. Yeah. Put Yamcha in. Okay, hold on. So I'm glad we have that systems thing, because all we saw was a bunch of people running around shitting their pants because Cell's trying to eat people, Cell reaching perfect form, and then Oolong going, "What if I shot a missile at him?" What is the goal here? Because obviously, if you're playing as Cell or the Raider, your goal is to find and absorb the survivors, right? But what are the survivors trying to do?
Dragon Ball: The Breakers is an online asymmetrical action game about one of the most vicious antagonists from Dragon Ball against 7 ordinary citizens without superpowers.
Do you always play as Cell?
In the game, the vicious antagonist is called a Raider, and the ordinary citizens as survivors.
So, hold on. Legit, this guy right here kind of looks like Yamcha. Like, we got Bulma Light, we got Oolong, we got Yamcha. I'm just going to say that this is fucking Yamcha. Secret win condition, die in front of Gohan. Well, I mean, so there was a fighting game that came out a couple of years ago, or within the last 2 years, that was based on One Punch Man. And when they first said they're making a One Punch Man fighting game, we were like, hold on. How the hell are you going to make a One Punch Man fighting game when the whole concept of One Punch Man is he punches people once and then they lose? And the whole concept of the fighting game was you are everyone that isn't One Punch Man. You are not Saitama. You're playing as people like, oh man, I can't remember any of their name. We'll say Genos. That's one that I can remember. And you're fighting against the villains, and your whole goal is to just survive until One Punch Man gets there. So you're not even trying to beat the guy. You're trying to survive until Saitama can show up and win. And I wonder if that's what you're doing here, is you are trying to survive long enough for Goku and the gang, the Z Fighters, to come save you.
And the ordinary citizens as survivors.
They're going to tell us, but...
Survivors of this game are from a group of ordinary citizens who do not have superpowers like Goku. Survivors are sucked into a mysterious phenomenon called temporal scene, which is a space where all the times and places are mixed together. What awaits them there is the threatful Raider. The player can choose to play as either a Raider or a survivor. The goal of the Raider is to defeat all survivors, while the goal of the survivors is to escape the battlefield while protecting themselves from a Raider. Survivors can escape from the battlefield by activating the Super Time Machine.
Real quick, this is really cheesy, but all right, go ahead.
To activate the Super Time Machine, they must protect the startup system, which appears in the middle of the map for a certain amount of time. If survivors are able to defend the startup system until the activation is complete, the power of the Super Time Machine will fix the temporal scene and allow them to escape from the battlefield. In order for the startup system to appear, survivors must first set the power keys.
This is a lot more like Dead by Daylight than VHS, area. You're correct.
So the survivors must find and place it in a specific location. The more power keys are set, the less time it will take to defend the startup system. If the startup system is destroyed, survivors will not be able to activate the Super Time Machine. But the game will not be over yet. Beacons will appear on the map to call out the emergency time machine, and each player will have to try escaping. If you succeed in escaping, you will receive bonus points in the game results. However, only one time machine can be called out at a time. Survivors can choose between escaping alone or escaping together with their companions. If the Raider destroys the time machine even once, survivors will not be able to call out the time machine again. Also, if you fail to escape within the time limit, the game is over and the Raider wins.
Okay, but what if they destroy the Super Time Machine and the regular time machine? Is it just over by default?
A Raider can win the game by stopping the activation of the Super Time Machine and defeating their survivors before they can escape the temporal scene. If Raiders can defeat all survivors, then it becomes a complete victory. Raider doesn't have to necessarily defeat survivors. but the more he defeats, the higher points are earned. Since decreasing the number of survivors will lead to stopping the activation of the Super Time Machine, take action efficiently. The Raider, with their overwhelming combat power, has a unique feature which allows it to evolve during the battle. For example, one of the Raiders, Cell, starts as a larva at the beginning of the game and evolves by absorbing survivors and NPC civilians. Each time it evolves, its combat power and skills will change, turning it into an even more threatening enemy for the survivors. The Raider has active and passive skills that make it a threat to survivors. Active skills can be activated at any time. There is a variety of useful skills, such as key detection, which allows one to see the...
If Sully's regular people, it should just be regular. No. I mean, that's how he evolved the first time, right? Was by just killing enough, like eating enough people. The thing that makes me wonder about this though is like looking at this so far, they've only ever shown Cell, and like multiple of the DBZ enemies evolve, right? Like Frieza had 4 forms. 4 forms, yeah, 4. 4.5 if you include like the perfect form, which was like just more muscly. So like Frieza could evolve, Cell could evolve. You could also have evolutions with like Majin Buu. Not really with the androids, but so like it makes me wonder though, like with Cell, the larva version makes sense, but like, are you gonna have Frieza start out as just like basic Frieza? And if so, like how is that like on par with Cell as a larva? But
the aura of the survivors, and also other skills to efficiently defeat and fight with it. Passive skills are to efficiently defeat, allows one to see the aura of the survivor.
So there's a survivor,
and also
who the fuck are these two? That definitely looks like fucking Piccolo on the right, and that looks like maybe Vegeta on the left.
Other skills to efficiently defeat and fight with it. Passive skills are skills that are always active during the battle and have a continuous effect. There are various skills depending on the Raider, such as ways to accumulate the evolution gauge, and also actions that can be triggered at any time by specific controls. In addition, each Raider has special attacks for each transformation form. Among them, the Ultimate Special Attack, which can be used in the final form, has an incredible power and attack range. Cell's perfect Kamehameha hits everything in a straight line, making it a move that can be used to great effect, especially in attacking the startup system.
Oolong's like, help, fuck,
Each time a Raider evolves, it can destroy one area of the map. Once an area is destroyed, it disappears completely, and the range where survivors can move becomes narrower, making the action more tense in the latter half of the game. In addition, destroying an area will not demolish the power keys that have already been installed. But destroying an uninstalled area will reduce the total number of keys installed, which makes the time longer to switch on the startup system.
Okay.
With these various skills, you can gradually drive survivors into a corner.
Hold on.
These various skills, you can gradually drive survivors
into a corner. Look at fucking Yamcha, like, oh
god! Although the Raider is overwhelmingly powerful, survivors are not unarmed against this threat.
Okay.
Several countermeasures exist. Survivors can also use active and passive skills. For example, the skill Saiyan Pod Remote allows you to call up and board a pod that can land anywhere on the map. However, be careful because it takes a while to call out the pod, and also you will get damaged when the pod falls on your head. As another example, the skill Change can be used to head as another pod, and also you will get damaged when the pod.
It says you'll get damaged, but I don't see anything akin to a life bar on the HUD.
Falls on your head. As another example, the skill Change can be used to deceive the raider's eyes by changing into random objects on the map. However, you need to be careful as well, as it can sometimes turn into something completely unexpected.
They threw friggin'
Unless
prop
you
hunt
use
here.
these skills to your advantage, it will be difficult to escape the powerful raider. Dragon Change is one of the few ways that survivors can use their power against the raider. Survivors can equip up to 3 Transpheres, a sphere that contains the souls of super warriors.
Okay.
Dragon Change can be activated by collecting a certain amount of change power on the field, allowing you to fight with the power of a super warrior for a short time. However, the raider's power is still overwhelming.
One thing though, like, this is supposed to come out in 2022, okay? And I realize that this is a early developmental build, but the animations in this hurt. Some of them are funny, but they're also kind of funny because they're bad. But if we look at this section right here where this guy transforms into Piccolo
on the field, allowing you to fight with the power of a super warrior for a short time.
Oh, whoo! Like, whoo! Some of this visually looks bad. Now, I'm hoping that that's just because it's an early build. But, whoo, even if there's a lot of things here that look like it could be fun, if a game just looks stupid, Jump Force, it's not going to do well. And I have that concern here that I like a lot of the things of what they're saying conceptually and in terms of even how it's going to be involved and integrated. But if it looks like garbage, if it looks like you're playing like a game that was an asset flip on Steam, it will not be received well. I think the reason it sells the only Raiders because the others weren't finished in time for the preview build. I think you're right. But we also have this really big problem right now in the video game industry of them just cranking out video games and being like, it's out. Is it done? It's out. Yeah, but is it done? It's out. And then they issue an apology, and then they have a roadmap for all the stuff that should have been in the game before they released it. And then they have this roadmap of fixes and things that should have just been done before the game came out. And so I have a concern, right? There's 2 concerns that I have with this game. One that I haven't shared at all, and that I intend to share later in the video. And the other one is just how rough this looks right now.
However, the Raider's power is still overwhelming, so it is recommended to use it as a temporary countermeasure, or use other skills depending on the situation, such as escaping with the use of flying techniques. Transpheres can be set in a spot of level 1, 2, and 3.
You guys gotta disrespect Vegeta like that. Vegeta's level 2, Goku's level 3. He's gonna manifest himself into reality and beat the shit out of all of you. Also, just as a note, Kakarot, Goku, I've not watched Super, just as a note before I say this, so I don't know if this has been changed in Dragon Ball Super. Goku has never beat Vegeta. In fact, every time they fought, Vegeta has kicked the shit out of Goku by the end of the fight and ends up losing because of something else. Like, Vegeta through and through has always won in his fights against Goku. And then loses for some other reason. Normally because he's not paying attention to fucking like Yajirobe or something like that. Or, you know, Frieza shows up or whatever. Freaking Cooler or whatever, right? Vegeta loses because of his arrogance and involving with other people. But he has always won against Goku. Again, if that's changed in something that's come out since Dragon Ball Z, by all means, feel free to correct me in the comments. But you gonna disrespect Vegeta like that is bullshit. Anyway.
The higher the level, the stronger the skill will be. But on the other hand, more change power will be consumed. The form of the Raider that you can fight against is determined by the change level. When you fight, Make your decision based on the power balance between you and the opponent. The timing on the power is to be
so, you know, maybe it's just the change function, because it didn't become really, like, everything looked a little rough. The animations looked kind of like, you know, kind of static. They weren't smoothed out yet, but up until we saw them start to transform into the fighters, everything just kind of looked early build. And I feel like the fighters are early build, because looking at them here,
the form
where he's
of the raider that you can
transformed
fight
here
against is determined by the change level.
This section is what looks the most
Make your
rough.
decision based
like,
on the power balance
This
between
is what
you
doesn't
and
look
the opponent.
polished yet, and I hope that it's just because they're
The
still
timing of
working on
activating
this.
dragon change is very important. Whether you want to fight, flee, or go to rescue, use it strategically to get the most out of this ability. Various items can be used on the field, such as a weapon that can be shot directly at the raider, vehicles that can move around the field quickly, and
I
a
can't think of
radar
Vegeta
that
without
can
thinking
search
about
for
his
the
Batman
activation
shirt.
key.
That's fair.
Utilize a variety of items
I'm just
and
weird for
try
calling
escaping the
things
battlefield.
dragon whatever. What?
In addition,
for
there
Dev's
are
call.
also
Oh,
Dragon
okay.
Balls on the
no.
field.
You're not weird
If you
for that.
collect 7 Dragon Balls and offer them on the altar, Shenron will appear, awaiting to make your wish come true. Survivors can wish to increase the change level by 1 step for all survivors, or maximize their own change level to 4. Raising to change
4?
level 4 can only be done by wishing to Shenron, and once you power up, your appearance and power will be exactly the same as the Super Warrior for a certain amount of time. The final form of the Raider is of course incredibly powerful, but increasing it to change level 4 will be the only way to counter with equal power.
Okay.
Summoning Shenron is not mandatory, but it will definitely contribute to the victory of the survivor. It is extremely difficult to collect 7 Dragon Balls in a limited time, but by cooperating with your teammates, you may be able to collect them faster. But careful, the Raider can also make a wish to Shenron. In this case, the Raider can only wish to either level up just 1 transformation form or to recover stamina. It is possible to sabotage each other until you get your wish, so don't give up your efforts until the end. In the game, it's possible to increase the chance of victory by cooperating with other survivors. If you are attacked by the Raider, ask other survivors to come rescue you. If you are about to be defeated, and until the countdown reaches 0, your companions can mend your wounds until you are fully healed. Don't forget to communicate. The signal feature is one of the communication tools to let other survivors inform each other about their actions, the location of the Raider, the location of items, and many other things. Make sure to use it efficiently with your companions. Lastly, the defense of the startup system is one of the biggest keys to cooperation. You can use Dragon Change, skills, items, or even directly operate the startup system yourself to shorten the time it takes to complete. You will have to defend the system by using all the countermeasures we have mentioned. Help your friends, cooperate with each other, and try to break out with as many survivors as possible.
Okay. Hello, Cerulean.
Raider versus Survivors. Experience the overwhelming power difference in strength and prepare to enjoy the ultimate asymmetrical battle action in Dragon Ball: The Breakers.
Okay, so a couple of things that I'm going to mention now that we've gotten through all this and seen how the game functions. So I'll want one more time and I won't speak any more on it. The game looks really rough, okay? Dragon Ball Battle Royale? No, it's a Dragon Ball asymmetric game. So it's 1v7. Think of like Dead by Daylight. This is the most similar to Dead by Daylight in terms of like its core concept. You're trying to put keys into different areas to turn on a time machine to escape. And this will be the last time I mention it. The game looks rough visually, especially like it's got pretty low end textures. They're trying to go for a stylized look, but it just looks lower quality rather than having its own actual style. And the animations are really, really rough. But hopefully that's just because it's early. I know that they have a targeted release window of 2022. Is there anything else here at the
First
end?
to play.
Okay, yes, there is something here. Registration for closed beta test. Registration deadline is November 30th. Fuck. That was all right. Closed beta test schedule. Session 1 is happening next week. Okay. Beta test version is still in development and may differ from the final release. I hope it differs. It needs some things. So here's the other thing that I want to console. I thought there might have been a mobile game. Thankfully not. Look, PS4, Xbox X and S, no PS5, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Steam. So one thing that I'll also bring up on this, it is 1v7. 1v7 is a lot for one team, okay? And we're going to keep making this comparison to Dead by Daylight, okay? Which Dead by Daylight is 1v4. Dead by Daylight also... Oh, God, do we want to become famous, y'all? I do not want to become famous. I mean, I do, but not through what you're offering. So if you would please just, go away forever, that'd be great. And just die. There we go. There's one. I was trying to find the button, and I couldn't find the button. But anyway, have a good time. Peace out. Famous. Anywho, so back to what I was saying, which is Dead by Daylight has a very, very significant player base. Dead by Daylight, and my hopes and dreams, they're dashed. I know, I missed it. Dead by Daylight has a very significant player base. Even at its lowest point on Steam charts, it generally has around like 30,000 players. Shit, like let's just look at what it has literally right now. For context, I'm recording this at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on a Thursday, okay? And at 9 p.m. in California on a Thursday, it has 42,000 players right now. In the last 24 hours, it peaked on Steam at 60,499 players. This does not include it being on Xbox Game Pass, both on console and on PC, which means that it's included with your subscription there. It's not factoring in the very significant player base that exists on PlayStation. It is not factoring in it being on Epic Game Store. It is also free right now on Epic Game Store. This game has a ridiculous number of people that play it, which is fine. That's great. But it also feeds into my point, which is that Dead by Daylight is a 1v4 game. And there are times where you are waiting on the queue because there is an imbalance between the people that want to play Survivor versus want to play Killer, or in this case, want to play Survivor versus Raider. And this will not open to the same player base. I mean, it might on day like 1 through 7, but there's always a huge influx of players right at the beginning of a game's launch, and then it tapers off to, you hope to see it flatline at a healthy amount and not continue to taper lower. But if 1v4 with, I'm just going to say 250,000 people actively playing it at all points in time has struggles with having lower queue times because of the innate imbalance between 1v4 gameplay, 1v7 will be worse. And I feel like that's a very large concern with this game, is that depending on the balance of the player base, in terms of needing raiders or needing killers, you could be waiting in one of those lobbies for a very long time because it is such a significant number of the asymmetrical nature is so large with the number of people on both sides, right? That is another concern that I have. Beyond the quality stuff, in terms of an actual functional part of things that I think could actually just actively hurt the game, is because you could see extremely long queue times based on whether there is a surplus of one role versus the other. We get some serious words on stream, sometimes waiting for lobbies at Dead by Daylight. You do. And it also depends on the time of day. Later at night, killer queue times, 0. Like, you get just matches immediately. Bam, 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 bam. No one wants to play killer late at night. They're playing games with their friends, or they're just wanting to relax and stuff like that. Survivors, huge influx of survivors late at night. Through early to midday, huge influx of killers. You can get really fast matches as a survivor. Whereas killer, you're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting. So it makes me worry because 1v7 will make that problem even worse. Now, beyond that, everything else here today, everything else that we saw here, this looks neat. This looks fun. I'm like, the balance of it looks like it could be horribly wild. They didn't, like, the Raider has a health bar, and they didn't ever really say what happens if you get the health bar to 0. I don't know if you could actually kill them and win that way, or maybe all getting their health bar to 0 does is devolve them a step. So instead of being perfect cell, you go down to, you know, second form cell or something like that. I don't know. So in 2022, it feels like it's just way too soon. That's the other thing. It feels like way too soon. Everything looked really rough. We only saw one Raider in the form of Cell, and if, like, you would want more than that, and they absolutely have material to pull from. I just feel like 2022 is just not enough time to get this game to the point that they're going to want it to be at. I like what I see, but my skeptic bar meter charge is scraping the top. It's filled to the maximum, to where we just checked out before this VHS, and VHS had some similar concerns, especially with like animation quality. But looking at this, I was like, looking at VHS, I was like, you know what? I see some like rough edges here, but absolutely day one, I'd be willing to try that. Dragon Ball the Breakers instead, unless we see some really large improvements in future trailers or reveals, or I get word from a few trusted sources of like, no, this is fucking sick. It is a game that will come out, and on day one, I'll be like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait a week, a month, somewhere in that time frame to see. Because right now, I'm just like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know. There's some potential, but it does not feel like it can meet that potential yet. But what did you think? Are you a fan of Dead by Daylight or other similar asymmetrical games? Are you interested in Dragon Ball The Breakers? Or do you think that I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm just like, don't worry about it, it's going to be great? Or do you share my skepticism and concern? What are you hoping for out of this game? Please leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If you want to keep up the conversation elsewhere, two great places to do so are on Discord and Twitter. And speaking of Discord, we have a channel dedicated to these reactions where you can place links of your own that we can check out together live on stream, because we do stream 4 days a week on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, with the reactions taking place after our regularly scheduled content on Tuesday and Thursday. And I'd love to see you there. But we're going to go and get out of here, everybody. So if you do go check out one of those other YouTube videos on the channel, such as VHS, another upcoming asymmetrical game, or if we see you in the live stream, thank you and enjoy.